I don't think in my career this would have happened at all. So I'm really happy that I was in the right place at the right time, talking to the right person. Right now we are at the Pyramid Cabaret for the All-City Barber Battle. It's not really about competing against other people, but it's more so about kind of competing against yourself and trying to prove to yourself that you do have what it takes to step on stage.
What inspired you to get into this?
I got into barbering, which was, at the time, it was a dead craft. I mean, if it's not the haircuts that people love, it's definitely like your personality, or there's something about you that keeps them coming back. If it's, people take time, all barbers take time to get where, to get good and to get to where they were. So if you feel like after the first year or first couple of months that like, this isn't for you, I wouldn't quit, Don't quit there, there's some time. I've been doing this for 16 years, so. It took me a very long time before I could say that my work was half decent,
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Two for Ice podcast, aka the #1 podcast in Winnipeg. Honestly, scratch that. The voice of Winnipeg. We're here at the Pyramid Cabaret for the All-City Barber Battle. Who do we have here? Introduce yourself, my friend.
My name is Patrick Ferrer, or on Instagram, I'm known as Oscarsnailsly. And I'm a local barber from Winnipeg.
I've heard a lot about you. And the reason I say I've heard a lot about you is because when we did Regan's episode, he mentioned you a lot in terms of his come up and learning how to cut hair. How long have you known Regan? What's the relationship there?
I've known Regan for like a handful of years. I knew him as like an up and coming barber, and he quickly made his way to the top. And I don't know, before you knew it, he had his own shop, which was downtown.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until he decided to open up the Swish location. That's when I decided to join him. And ever since then, things have been good. This is our second battle that we've hosted together. And yeah.
Talk about the event right now. So like, where are we and what is kind of going on right now?
Right now we are at the Pyramid Cabaret for the All-City Barber Battle, which starts at 3 o'clock today. We have several events, which would include the fastest fade, the 21 and under category, the flawless fade, the tag team event. We have a event called the Golden Shears, which is all like scissor work and things like that. We also have, what did I not say? We have the flawless fade category. Did I say that already?
Yeah, flawless fade, fastest
flawless
fade.
fade, fastest fade. We have the tag team category, so that's 2 barbers on one head.
Okay.
The end result is supposed to look like only one person did it.
Nice.
And our main event that we have is called the cut and shoot.
Okay.
And that's kind of like, it's a mixture of 3 different things. So it's not only just hairstyling and cutting hair, but it also has to do with fashion. And the end result is actually photography. So we're judging the final product off of like the final photos that everything has to be done by the barber. So the haircut, the wardrobe, and the photo shoot has to be done by the barber.
Okay.
And yeah, that's a 90-minute category. So that's going to be very exciting.
And I assume you're not competing?
I'm not competing, no. I'm one of the hosts. So, and I'm also one of the judges.
Okay.
There's 4 of us.
Yeah.
We got myself, then we have Andrew Van, also known as Chink the Barber. And we got Scott Ramos, known as Famous.
Yes, sir.
And we have Kelly O'Leary, and she is the owner of the Sapphire Lounge.
Nice. Let's take it back to your barber journey, your journey in terms of cutting hair and getting started. Where did you get started, and what inspired you to get into this?
Well, hair kind of like runs in my family. So my grandpa before me, he was a barber like his entire life.
Okay.
So, he was a barber back in the Philippines, and when he came out here in the 80s, he had his own shop as well. So yeah, like, hair's been in the family for a long time. I also have a sister who has, so I'm like 16 years in the game. She's like 26 years in the game. So
wow.
She has her own shop. And yeah, I don't know. I graduated from high school in 2007. And at the time, my sister had just acquired her first location.
Okay.
So I went to hair school to help her out, but eventually I just started doing my own thing, and I got into barbering, which was, at the time, it was a dead craft. So when I first started out, there were probably like 3 of us that are like considered, new age barbers, what you would see now.
Yeah.
And now, 16 years later, there's like thousands of us from Winnipeg.
Yeah, I mean, the barber community is like like tight knit? Like everyone kind of knows
Oh yeah,
what's going on.
everyone knows each other,
Yeah.
which is good. I wouldn't say there's any beef or anything like that in the community either.
No? Has there been in the past?
I don't know. I guess you could say so. I guess there's been some like unspoken things between barbers in the past. Like I know I've had some incidents with other barbers, but have since then kind of squashed everything that we had. So.
But that's probably like almost in like any industry, correct?
Yeah, exactly. There will be people that you don't agree with, and it's just how
it happens. It happens. What's up, Devo?
Just turn yourself just.
Okay. Oh, good. Oh, good. I wanted to like. What I realize, like, I go to Swish for my haircuts, and what I realize is you spend a lot of time with your clients, right? And you sort of build like this bond that's like kind of like the barber and client relationships, like kind of unbreakable. Like talk on that, like.
I think the bond between you and your client, or your client and barber, that's a very important thing, because it'd just be really awkward if you went to somebody for years and didn't really speak any words to them at all, right? Like, you don't know what their lifestyle is like outside of work, and vice versa. So, it's very important to build that, I guess, that relationship, that bond between client and barber, because that goes a long way. And I mean, if it's not the haircuts that people love, it's definitely like your personality, or there's something about you that keeps them coming back if it's not for the skill. So.
Sometimes I'll just go to have a conversation with Jay. And I'll just
exactly.
Like, yeah, what's up, man? It's been a while since it caught up. It's been a month, 2 months.
Yeah.
Like,
to a lot of people, like your barber is almost like your therapist.
Exactly.
So like, it's kind of funny, but like I know a lot about my clients that they've never told anybody else before. So that kind of just stays between us.
What's a unique story? Like, you've been doing this for a very long time, and I hate asking story questions, but I honestly love hearing them. Is there any moment that sticks out throughout your career that was like, wow, I can't believe I'm doing this right now, or I can't believe this is what? Even it doesn't have to be crazy, it doesn't have to be.
I guess battling, really, man.
Yeah.
Like I went I went years in my career without going into any competitions at all.
Okay.
And at one point in time, we did have something called the ABA show.
Okay.
Which was an annual thing that was like a hairstylist convention.
Sure.
And there would be things there too. So I remember starting my career, going to hair school, and attending one of those for the first time, and like telling myself like that's something that I eventually would like to do. I'd like to step on stage and kind of just show off my skills, basically. And I guess the first time that ever happened for me was back in 2014. That was the first time I ever got to experience it. And it was an experience like no other. And this goes out to everyone that's like very hesitant about joining barber battles. I'd say it's not really about competing against other people, but it's more so about kind of competing against yourself and trying to prove to yourself that you do have what it takes to step on stage and battle it out with everybody else, So when you're in the moment, that feeling of nervousness, at least in my opinion, it kind of goes away a little bit, and it turns into more like of just like energy.
Sure.
And that's just something that, for me, I use that to get through, to the final result. And
Great.
I don't know, that's just one of the craziest experiences that I've ever felt in my career. Is just like being able to compete and just showcase my skills.
Yeah, that's honestly like something I never really knew about the side of barbering and cutting hair was the competing side. I honestly heard about it through Swish and through Regan. Are these common, and like how intense do these barber? I guess I'll learn today, but
they get pretty crazy. Like not necessarily in Manitoba. So like the whole purpose of having this event was because there are so many barbers in Manitoba alone. And everybody is extremely talented in their own different way. And I wanted Manitoba to get recognition for that, because when you think about barbering and competitions, people always think about bigger cities, bigger states that barbering is more prevalent in.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted Winnipeg to like have that same type of light. Like I just want it to be known that like you don't have to travel anywhere just to get something crazy. Like it's all here. It's all in Winnipeg. So
yeah, there's beauty in our city. I think one of the reasons why we started the show as well was because of that, right? We always see like, oh, Toronto, Vancouver, they got like the big, like, yo, our city's got talent. Our city's got something to prove.
oh yeah.
And so like,
for anything, for like music, we got a lot of talented artists.
exactly,
You know, and just in general, like there's a lot of talent coming out of this city.
Can you talk about a little bit like the process of like going about this event? I mean, I guess the last one was before COVID, I want to say.
Yeah, the first battle that we did was just before COVID. It was December 1st, 2019 was our first battle.
Yeah.
And that entire process was like, for how big it turned out, we only thought about the idea and put everything into motion. It was like 2.5 weeks before the actual.
You were just saying before, like.
Yeah, so like one day we were kind of just sitting there and talking, and we were just talking about how I've always wanted to do an event. I've always wanted to have a barber battle. And he's like, "What's stopping us right now?" Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. Never done it before. But if it wasn't for Regan giving me that push to like actually go out and like wanting to do this thing, then I don't think in my career this would have happened at all. So I'm really happy that I was in the right place at the right time, talking to the right person. And with Regan, we were able to do that like pretty fast. What
are the logistics of that? So 2-week turnaround, time to go. You're like, I had the idea. Now what's the first step? What do? You make an Instagram post? Do you
make the Instagram post? Yeah, you try to look for a venue. Not a lot of places will let you book them in 2 weeks time. So luckily we just got this. We just acquired Swish Barber Shop. We had all the stations, had all the lights. It just made sense at the time to do it. It's a pretty big shop. You've walked in there before.
Yeah, of course.
So, yeah, I mean, there's that, and having to reach out to all the barbers just to like try to get everybody on the same page, and really just kind of like just trying to reach out to like the hair community through posts and everything like that to get everybody
interested.
Yeah, interested. Like
did it take some convincing?
It did.
Yeah.
Like this scary part about that is, I mean, like I said before, like it's Winnipeg. A lot of people are behind on everything, right? So it wasn't until the day of where we started to see people starting to sign up, and everything looked kind of scary up until that point. And then you saw people with like money and be like, "Hey, like is it too late?" Like, no, definitely not.
Come on in.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's really just trying to spread the word and everything. This time around, Regan went ahead and he found us a venue before even like planning it. So like that's good. We had that all solidified. I guess this time around we had reached out to different sponsors. That's something that we didn't do before. Everything was completely out of pocket the first time around. We just wanted to see what was going to happen. So I mean, there's a lot more steps that we took this time in order to get the ball in motion. So
I guess you just learn from your mistakes.
Basically, yeah. What did we do wrong last time that we could improve on this time? We had a lot of stuff that we were all busy. So I mean,
I'm sure this is not the last one either.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's so many other. Is there any other events that you personally that you said you wanted? You said you wanted to do events. Is it something that you wanted to do outside of barber battling and
outside of like the whole barber battling aspect?
Yeah.
I mean, another event that I would like to do is like still within the community, the hairstyling community, I guess, and barbering.
Yeah.
But I've always wanted to hold something called like a barbecue.
Okay.
So it's a barbecue, a summer event.
I see.
Where barbers and stylists, or just people who are kind of just interested, in the industry, would like to kind of just come out and like do like I guess meet and greet each other, get everyone acquainted with one another, maybe expand. I don't know, just
Of course, that's that's a
more so for social networking.
Like networking.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn, that's
you never know. Like an event like this, yes, this is a barber battle. This is a place where people will compete, but I really stress that, like I want barbers and stylists and just people on the outside to come in. That way we could all be in one, like under one roof, and we could meet each other. You could potentially meet like your next employer or your next employee. Like it's all about that. Like that's like the most important thing. Like outside of like the whole battle is just the networking and just building a stronger community in the industry and just in Manitoba in general, in Winnipeg. So
The last thing I want to touch on before I'm taking too much of your time, I hope I'm not doing that, is also like you guys are rooted in like culture. It's not only you go there to get a haircut, but like sneakers, clothing, like art, just music in general. You said like a lot of your barbers are off at the Drake concert.
yeah,
What is the crossover like and having on like a giant hub of just
honestly, it's like
creating a wave pretty much?
it's a hip hop culture, you
Yeah.
know. Like I would say that, you know, the fashion, the music, like obviously that's a really big part of hip hop, but like the style, everything, like hair, barbering is very much so a big part of that culture. So to have a shop that you know, can cater to all of that, you know, it's just it's awesome. You know, like you have your hair, you got your fashion,
Yeah.
and you know we got our music and everything
Exactly.
playing in the background. So
Okay.
I don't know, it all kind of just comes hand in hand.
One last thing I'd like to end off is, do you have any advice for anyone who's like starting out in the barber world, in the industry? Something that you wish you had known when you started?
Something that I wish that I knew when I started was, I don't know. There's a lot of shy people out there. I'm pretty shy, so like, one thing that I wish I could be more was is more social, and as long as you're, you know, kind of like that and you're reaching out to other people, like it really helps to know people in the industry, you know, like. I don't know. I'm just like a shy guy in general,
Yeah, of
so
course.
it's kind of it's a little harder for me to like
of course.
take my own advice and like go out there and be like, hey, my name's Patrick. You know, like,
Exactly. Yeah.
you know.
But it's great that you're open to it, right? And you know who you are and you know your strengths and you know your weaknesses. So
Exactly.
I think that also plays like being authentic and being true. And
Yeah.
be like that's why I'm like, you know, your name is mentioned when, you know, some of the best barbers in the city, your
Yeah.
your name's mentioned up there. So
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. So yeah, if there's any advice that I could give, it's just like just be yourself. You know,
Exactly.
like people take time. All barbers take time to get where, you know, to get good and to get to where they were. So if you feel like after the first year or first couple of months that like this isn't for you, I wouldn't quit. You know, don't quit there. You know, there's some time. I've been doing this for 16 years, so
Yeah.
it took me a very long time before I could say that my work was half decent. You know, so.
Was there a moment you wanted to quit ever throughout your career?
Yeah, there are times, you know, like especially like when I, you know, the first couple of years when I first started, like I said, there was no like newer barbers out there, so everything for me was just hairstyling. I worked in hair salons for like the first 6-7 years of my career, and
Yeah.
that was definitely something that I did not like. There were many aspects of that job that I just didn't feel like doing, and you know, and the opportunity came for me to just like stick to barbering and just start my own thing. I jumped on that, and ever since then, you know, like I've been pretty happy about my career choice.
Wow.
And you know, I don't have to say yes to things that I don't want to do.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. It's,
Hey man, I appreciate you, Patrick, Oscar, whatever you go by. Thanks so much for coming on, brother.
no problem. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. By the time this comes out, it's the Barber Battle. Thank you again for having us here. I'm looking forward. If you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe. Tool for Eyes. Check out Oscar. You know, I'll be at the Swish Shop. He'll be there. And yeah, until next time. Peace. There we go. That's it.